There's a new way to vacation here. And stay in a place like this. And bring her.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Colorado Rockies franchise, and this will be the Season 1 off-season live stream, as we'll be going through the first off-season, signing some players, and just trying to make this team better as a whole. It was a rough first season for the Rockies as we went 56 and 106 on the season. We were only one game better than the Orioles, who had the worst record in baseball at 55 and 107. Traded away, I believe 7 total players, added a number of prospects to this team. Players like Xavier Edwards, Shane Baz, Tukey, Royce Lewis, Blaze Jordan, who I'm really excited about. He tore up AA, got big boost to all of his hitting ratings, and he's still only 18. He'll be 19 once the offseason comes around in just a couple minutes. So I think that he has the potential to be DH for us, or maybe a first baseman if his fielding gets a little better, but could hit for a ton of power and still has room to develop. Guys like Hunter Green, Hedbert Perez, a few other guys that we got down here, claimed some people off of waivers, just trying to make this team better in any way that we can. But yeah, first year was not great for us. We really struggled. The Minnesota Twins and Charlie Blackmon did win the World Series, so they had a big year beating the Mets. Charlie Blackmon was definitely a part of their World Series winning team, hit 33 homers on the season. Tampa Bay also made the playoffs as Trevor Story was there. He had a great year for them. I saw he hit 14 home runs in the month of August. Just went absolutely bananas after getting traded away from us. Ends up with an OPS over 9 and a really strong second half of the season. And really, after we traded him away, he took some big steps forward. But it was an exciting postseason. It seems like 2 Game 7s in the AL and NLCS, and then the Twins win 4-2 against the Mets. DeGrom and Syndergaard both kind of struggled in the World Series, which was surprising, especially DeGrom. But I think that's pretty much it for this part of the season. We're going to be moving into the off season. Going to go ahead and save one of these just to have for the future, just in case anything happens. But we're going to go ahead and advance to the off season and get right into this. So our third base coach has retired. Our first base coach contract has expired. We have 5 days to negotiate qualifying offers. And then retired players, so we don't have anyone retire for our team. Chris Davis retires after he did actually play 103 games for the Orioles, which is surprising after his 2020 and 2019 with and really 2018 as well. He had that crazy hitless streak, but he finally will leave the majors after, for a few years there, being one of the best power hitters in all of baseball after coming to the Orioles, 53 home runs in 2013. Outside of that, Jay Happ retires, Drew Patera, Sergio Romo, Jeff Mathis, who played for the Braves, had a Mathis season. If you know what that means, big ups to you. But one of the best defensive catchers and framing catchers in baseball. Outside of that, John Lester retires, Adam Wainwright. The Giants have 3 different players retire due to injury, including Cueto and Longoria. So they were both older, but both will be retiring now after major injuries. And then Ryan Braun retires. I assume Pujols probably will. Cole Hamels retires. But that's pretty much it for all the retirements. And Pujols does retire, gets into the Hall of Fame, one of the best players of his generation and of all time. So now to get right into the offseason, we're going to go to our signings first. So we have team options for Tim Collins and Hector Rondon that we're going to decline. And then we have to cut at least 5 players to get our roster down. So easy way to do that. I don't want to bring back Chris Owings right now. Potentially in free agency, we'll see what we can find in terms of utility players. Same with Matt Adams. Good power against righties, but he was awful for us, hitting under 200. And then Tim Collins, he was good for us, but I think there's going to be a ton of relievers out there that we can find that'll be just as good. So that puts us at 94. See if we can find some other players. Scott Burcham, utility guy, hits for a little bit of contact, but already older and probably will never sniff the majors. Willie Abreu, 25 but low potential, was just a farm hand in Double-A for us. See if there's anyone else we can go ahead and get rid of. Don't want to bring back Tyler Kinley. He was not great in the majors, not great at Double-A, and is over 30 with bad potential. Zach Borstein is interesting to me. He had a great season at AAA. I believe he led his league in home runs, but he's already 31, only a 64 overall, has nice power against righties, but can't play defense. Really bad vision and deep potential, so I think we're going to go ahead and release him as well. So that gets us to 90, so in a decent position there, and be able to just go ahead. We'll actually go and do some staff signings. I don't know if I want to like fully revamp this entire coaching staff, but definitely want to get rid of him. All negative attributes. Bud Black, get rid of him as well. With these contracts, it doesn't really matter to me. We have a ton of money to spend. So I do like Michael Blair, +2 to power, +3 to durability. See if we have anyone else who's interesting. +2 to power for Danny Pope. Really would like to see if anyone has all positives. That's not bad. +1 plate vision, +1 power, +3 fielding. I don't know if I want that for our manager, though. Let's see. We'll do hitting coach, see what's out there. Would like bonuses to our power. It's a big part of being at Coors. Here's contact, clutch, and power. So we'll get Patrick Cabrera an offer. Then need a first base coach. Durability, stealing speed. +3 to stealing speed, -3 to reaction though. And I don't mind spending some extra money here just because if you can have a good staff, you can sign more free agents, help your players develop better, and help your performance on the field as well. So that's not bad. Blocking, it's important, but not a huge priority for me. Then third base coach. Let's see. Stealing. See if someone can help us out with our fielding. There we go. Plus to speed, arm strength, and fielding, but durability goes down. Arm strength. Let's see. I think I do want to give him an offer. Yeah, because -2 to durability, it's not the biggest deal. We'll up the offers for what they're asking just so we can try and get them all. So durability, that helps us with what we lost with the third base coach. Stealing, power, and clutch. It's not bad. Clutch, power, arm strength. For our manager, I do think I want someone who has like pluses across the board. That actually contribute in like important statistics. Like I don't need a +3 to drag bunting. Bunting isn't a big part of the league anymore. Not really sure that guy's out there though. There's so many coaches available, it's hard to find one. There's just so many to go through. Let's see. Michael Blair, I do like that. He's just 63 is the only thing. Gabe Kapler, who's available. So I think we will do this because we get +2 to stealing, power, clutch, and durability. The stealing isn't the biggest thing to me, but I think power and clutch and durability all could play a nice role. Honestly, it's whatever with this money because we have a ton of money available, so we'll give him a big contract. So got our manager. Still waiting for these three, but we have the biggest offer to all of them. Okay, so hitting coach is going elsewhere. Yeah, so we need another hitting coach. Let's see. I mean, if someone could give us even more power. Plate discipline, bunting. That's not bad. Ooh. +2 to plate vision, contact, +2 to discipline, and just lose drag bunting. I'll offer him a contract. He should accept that. That's fully maxed out. Let's see. So, speed, reaction, stealing. I mean, I guess I could give him a 2-year offer. Offer him less than that, though. 2.5. We'll actually do 2.4, match the Mariners offer and see which team he wants to come to most. But I really want that hitting coach. Okay, so we're into free agency 1 now. I don't necessarily expect us to make a ton of moves here. Like, we're not going to go for the splashy signing of like Kershaw, Correa, Conforto. If the players we do sign, Corey Seager's available. That's tough. He's still only 27. Had an OPS of almost 9 last year. May offer Corey Seager. Just I don't know if I want to give him big money long term. I'm not sure if that's the position this team is really in right now. But we'll go to our players first. These will be pretty quick for just tendering contracts to the minor leaguers. Jonathan Daza I want to bring back. He'll come back on a league minimum salary. Then we can, for the other minor leaguers, just offer them whatever they ask. It doesn't matter. 1-year deal for Sam Hilliard. He can get a little bit more. Hopefully that helps out with his morale. Casey Golding, I think, may make it to the majors. So we're going to offer him a little bit extra just because when someone's caught up, it doesn't actually affect their salary. And I think he could potentially be... I don't think he'll open the season with the team, but I think he has the potential to be a player for us. maybe later on the season if we have any injuries, because he hits for decent power, has decent fielding and speed. His vision and discipline are just really bad. So Connor Joe I want to bring back. Has positional flexibility. He didn't hit well for us, but I think with the ability to play first, short, and in the outfield, still not old, or he is actually 30 years old, but is just a depth guy. Definitely someone worth keeping around. Sure, we'll offer him a platoon. Royce Lewis, Ryan Valade. I think some of these guys I may let walk, like Alan Trejo. He has a decent arm. He got called up last year, played 17 games, hit 3 home runs, but just deep potential. He's already regressing at only 24 years old. It's not really worth keeping him around. Josh Fuentes, same deal. He missed the last portion of the season. I don't really know what his role with this team is moving forward. He has great contact against righties, but his vision and discipline are awful. Great fielding as a first baseman, really. As a third baseman, and he has such a bad arm. And then the rest of his ratings, and he wasn't good for us at all. He hit 222, 243, and 382 for an OPS of 625. He did have a ton of doubles. At one point, he was either leading the league in doubles, or he was like top 3 in the NL, at least. Colton Walker can get a league minimum contract. Blaze Gordon. Aaron Shunk, still young. So here it's just trying to get through all these players. Eric Stamets, I don't want him back. If he had more positional flexibility, I think he would be an interesting guy for us. But just the ratings overall, and he can only play second base. Carlos Herrera. Xavier Edwards, who wasn't really great for us after acquiring him. He's still only 21 years old in the game, but needs a long way to go in terms of really all of his ratings except for speed. Brett Boswell, I do want to bring back just because of his positional flexibility. He was not great hitting the ball for us, only 177 average, but an OPS of 6, which is well below average. But I think with his positional flexibility, he's only 26 years old. It's worth bringing him back. Taylor Motter, how did he do for us? 680. I don't think I really want to bring him back. Potentially we could, just if I want to see what's out there in free agency first before offering him anything. He does have decent power though, so could be a nice player for us potentially. So some minor league players. Brian Mundell, I don't know. He has a deep potential and it looks like his overall's going down. If he had a higher potential, he could potentially be a nice DH for us. But I think we're actually just going to go ahead and release him. So I don't see him sticking around with us very long. Then need our catcher depth. No idea why he wants 610. But we'll give it to him. He's one of our prospects we acquired. Need catcher depth. So Briseño and Rabago will be brought back. Dom Nunez, of course, we want to bring him back. I'll give him 900,000. Heath Holder, just depth in our rotation, or bullpen, I should say. Helcaris is still only 20 years old, throws 96. Joe Harvey. Alcala, I definitely want to bring back. Oh, I don't want to offer that to Joe Harvey. Glad I noticed that. With a lot of these guys, I'm not concerned about what they're asking for. It's 1-year deals in the minors, and it's less than $1 million, so it's not a big deal. Jordan Sheffield, you can have that. We have decent potential in our relievers now with some of the acquisitions that I made through like the waiver wire and everything. Ben Bowden, he only appeared in 6 games. We gave him 2 shots at the major league level. He struggled in both of them. But I think as a lefty who throws 96 with decent enough break He's definitely someone worth keeping around. There aren't that many lefties who can throw that hard. So Domingo Tapia, we're going to bring him back as well. Another one, throws 99 with good break on a slider. Not going to be the highest potential, but as a depth guy in the minors who can get called up for relief innings, definitely has value there. Julian Fernandez is interesting because he's only 23. He ended up with an ERA of 8.49. His first 10 innings, he didn't allow a run, and then followed that up in the next 19 innings by giving up 28 earned runs, 6 home runs, walked a lot of batters, had a loss as well. But I think just as another guy who provides depth at the AAA and potentially at the major league level, it's worth keeping him around. Marwyn Gonzalez. Let me look at some more of these D potential players. So we're going to release Alan Trejo. Opens a roster spot and a spot on our 40-man Nick Long guy. He can get released. Marwyn Gonzalez can get released. Some of these D potential guys are worth keeping around, though, in my opinion. Guys like Jack Wincoop has 73 balls per 9. Doesn't throw very hard, but was really good in AAA. I think he had an ERA under 3 for us. So it's definitely a guy that's worth keeping around. All right, so tendering contracts. Really wish I would remove the guys that I released, but I think I do want to bring back Wincoop. Roll us in one of our better prospects. Kyle Wright can come back. He was actually really good for us at the major league level, I would say. He didn't strike out a ton of batters. He had troubles with walks, but only had an ERA of 4.09, which in terms of our starting pitchers that pitched, we'll say, at least 44 innings, that was the best out of all of them, which is sad to say, but it is the truth. Bring back Boz. Castellani was another guy who I thought was pretty decent. A lot of our starting pitchers, when they would struggle, I put him in a long relief role. I think he was pretty decent, had some good outings as a starter and as our long relief man. Gave up 35 runs, 7 homers, striked out more guys than I thought he would, but actually walked a lot more guys than I thought he might, just with somewhat decent control. But I do think he is someone worth keeping around. Gets that league minimum. Hunter Green. Tuki Toussaint. Derek Rodriguez is interesting. He has a great break on his pitches, doesn't give up a lot of home runs, but he was really bad for us, had an ERA of 8.50. He was a quad A player for the most part. He had an ERA hovering around 3 in AAA, but when he would get called up, I think 1 or 2 times, he really struggled, was really bad in 2020. I think with his potential and still only being 27, though, he is worth keeping around on a league minimum salary. We can get him for cheap. So now for arbitration eligible players, want to keep Rymel around. See how much he wants. 2.9. We'll offer him 2.5. McMahon I want to keep around. He wants 3.3. I'll give him 2.8. Then Hampson. Oh gosh, I gotta give him a lot more. We can give him 1.1. I feel like I'm bad at these arbitration. I never really know what's the best place to put these numbers. I normally end up losing it and the player gets what they ask for instead. But for the most part, I want to keep all these guys around. Some of them are like Tapia, McMahon, and Hampson are all contributors at the major league level along with Diaz. Greg Bird, he was good in AAA, didn't see the major league team, but good power. Potentially could open the season with the roster, probably will be in spring training at least. Jairo Diaz is interesting. He throws hard, has a good break, but he is still on the 40-man. Or no, he's not on the 40-man. I kind of like him. I like my big boy relievers. But I guess we will offer him arbitration for as little as we can. Yeah. Yency Almonte. He was okay for us. He spent a good bit of time at the major league level. He wants 1.1. I'm not doing that. He can have like 7.6. He's 63 overall. Carlos Estevez, I didn't realize how much time he had spent in the majors. He already has 5 years of service time. Looks like he was their closer at one point in 2016. But he was decent for us. Still has a little bit of potential. Throws hard at 97 with good break on his slider. Definitely worth keeping around. Let me see how much he wants. I think that's fair. Chris Russin, I don't want to bring back. Robert Stevenson finished the year as our closer. So he wants 1.4. I think I'd be willing to actually offer him just a contract outright. In the bullpen, 2 years, $3 million. We'll also 2 years, $3 million in the bullpen. And we'll also offer him arbitration as well. All right, so Chichi Gonzalez, I don't want to bring him back. He was bad. Appeared in 34 games, started at 11 for us, went 2 for 12. Didn't strike out batters, walked people, gave up 18 home runs, ERA over 6, whip of 1.69. Just not worth having around. We can find better players in free agency who are 28 years old for the most part. Senzatella, he was all right. He's another one of those guys who spent a little bit of time in between. 4.72 ERA, not great, but for what we currently have to work with, it's not the worst. Kyle Freeland and Austin Gomber. Gomber especially, he played 18 games out of the bullpen in long relief. That was when he was really struggling, had an ERA I think around 7, but ended up with 4.45, which is the best in our starting rotation. So I think he's definitely worth bringing back. He wants 1.5. Give him 1.1. Then Freeland, I know he's going to ask for a ton of money. I think it's worth it, though. I'll give him... Let me offer him an actual contract. Give you 5.7 in the rotation. Then we will offer him arbitration as well. All right. So I think that's pretty much everyone in terms of tendering contracts and salary arbitration. We got through that, I would say, pretty quick. It's very, very tedious to get all that done. When does our 40-man roster need to be set? Okay, so on the 20th. All right, so now we get into the actual fun part, which is free agency. Clayton Kershaw getting a 4-year offer from the Dodgers. Looks like he may stay there. Trevor Story getting a big offer from the Reyes. So it'll be interesting if he goes back there, what happens with Wander Franco and then Vidal Brujan, along with some of their other prospects. Noah Syndergaard, Correa, Conforto, Lynn, Baez, Seeger. Then we get into some older players, another Seeger. So definitely some very interesting players. We're going to just go through positions and see all who is available, as Avisail Garcia is out there. Only played in 59 games last year, but did OPS 863. He's 30 years old. good power against righties, good contact against lefties, has better defense than I would have thought. So he may be a guy who's worth checking out. Gregory Polanco didn't hit well enough. Let's see. How much does Garcia want on like a 2-year deal? He wants $7.9 million. I do not want to do that. So Starling Marte makes it to free agency. He was okay. Provides good defense though. Lurie Garcia as a utility guy would be interesting with excellent contact against righties, but vision and discipline are bad. 55 RBIs. OPS of 758, so not bad. May come back to him. Ian Desmond in free agency now. With a lot of these guys that I want to target positional flexibility. I don't see us going out and signing like Clayton, Kershaw, or someone like that. I want to build the bottom of our roster with some role players who could potentially stick around on smaller deals, see what they're able to do, and just lay the framework. We have a lot of prospects now, so I think we could potentially just create a team that gets better this year, call up some of our prospects, sort of take an approach like the Braves have, or kind of like the Padres, but they eventually did make big signings with Hosmer and Machado. And I also, with some of these deals that I will offer, I don't want to offer anything that's like too long of a deal, just because we do have those prospects. We could always also trade whoever we do pick up though. So Marwyn Gonzalez, he has that positional flexibility with excellent fielding. Only OPS of 700 though. Adrianza would provide some nice contact. Positional flexibility. He can play first as well. Let's see. Brandon Crawford. All right, so Chris Bryant does get to free agency. He's getting lowballed by the Cubs. Brock Holtz out there can play any position except for catcher. Brad Miller's interesting. He can play any position except for catcher. Provides nice power. OPS of 700 last year, which isn't awful. I don't necessarily see him being a guy who plays in the outfield for us, maybe in left or right field, but just with how big the outfield is, I do want better fielders there. But I think it is worth giving him an offer, like 2 years. We'll do maybe 3.5. We'll front load it. That doesn't really affect anything, so we'll actually keep it the same. But I think he could be an interesting platoon guy against righties. He hits for power, great discipline, so he can draw some walks as well. And I think these are the type of signings that we're going to make. No one that's super high impact, but just could provide some help to this team, make us better. And I really want to utilize platoons as well. Okay, that's our top prospect. We drafted him in the 5th round. I don't know why he's a free agent. I swear if someone takes him from me, I'm going to be upset. Any first baseman? We don't really have a first baseman except for Greg Bird on the roster right now, but I think a guy like Brad Miller could play some first base for us. Brandon Belt wants $7 million a year. I'm not going to do that. He's already 33 years old. I think it would be worthwhile trying to find another catcher, just because I feel like it's important to have catcher depth. Dom Nunez and Elias Diaz both struggled at the major league level. We had Briseño last year. He didn't see the majors because we didn't have any injuries. When Diaz was really struggling early on in the year, I thought about potentially calling him up and sending Diaz down. But then Diaz started to bounce back, so I didn't feel like a change needed to be made at that moment. Kurt Suzuki would be interesting. I think he was an all-star last year. He's not going to play any sort of defense. but as a potential hitter and complement to either Diaz or Nunez, he could definitely be an interesting guy. But just let's see how much he would even want. 5.6 for a guy who'll probably open the year in AAA. I'm not really interested in doing that. All right, so let's see into pitchers now. No closers right now I'm really interested in. And another thing to keep in mind, these are just the initial offers. Other players will come available when like our arbitration isn't offered or they are non-tendered. So we can definitely look out for guys then as well. Chaz Rowe, 35 years old. Was decent in 20 games. Shane Green didn't play for anyone last year. See if there's anyone worthwhile. Like anyone with any potential. Alright. So, into starting pitchers now. Noah Syndergaard would be interesting, but similar to what I was saying about Corey Seager, I don't think it's the time right now to make a move like this. He's only 28, but his ERA again was over 4. We know how much he struggles with injuries, so I just don't think it's worthwhile at that cost to try and get him at this moment. Carlos Rondon, ERA nearing 5. Robbie Ray could be an interesting guy. Still only 30. Throws pretty hard with decent break. Doesn't necessarily always know where his pitchers are going to go, but had an ERA at 3.80, which isn't bad as potentially a guy. But, of course, he wants $9 million. Justin Verlander's out there. But with how much he's regressed, he'll continue to regress that way and probably will be down in the 60s, low 60s probably by the time the season even ends, even though he was good. Steven Matz, sinker baller, changeup, curveball, slider, 4.51, gave up 27 home runs. See what he wants though. See, that's more manageable. He's also 30, same overall as Robbie Ray, but walks a lot less guys and commands about half the price. So I would offer him a 2-year deal. Probably be in the rotation. I don't know, I'll give you can have $4 million a year. See if there's anyone else interesting. How did Drew Smiley do? Not great. Felix Hernandez is out there, but he's regressed a ton. That's a weird picture. Him in an Orioles uniform. Okay. Anyone else interesting? Not really at this moment. So I think we'll sim a day. We'll sim a few days, but just see if we get anyone to actually sign with us. I need Phil May to sign with us. If he doesn't, I don't think anyone signed. I think it was just 2 offers so far. So we do get our third base coach. All right, I'll give you $100,000. We get our first base coach. So Kershaw goes across town to the Angels, gets 5 years, $30 million a year. Had a great season, Cy Young contending season again, and a World Series or a record-setting season for the Dodgers. So we do get Phil May back. So we get our hitting coach, Trevor Story. Wow. Would not have expected that. He ends up going to the Athletics. So they make a big move for him. It's a lot of money for the Athletics to shell out for one player. See if he actually sticks around there for very long. Starling Marte goes back to the Marlins on a 2-year deal. Still waiting on these two. Lance Lynn goes to the Red Sox. He was great. See if there's any other signings. Nope. Michael Conforto, 5-year deal to the White Sox. So they make their outfield even better. He'll join Luis Robert and I can't think of his name right now. Eloy. So it'll be interesting to see. They now have Eloy, Luis, and Michael Conforto. It's a pretty elite outfield at 25, 24, and 29. They're going to be tough to beat. Let me make sure all our other draft picks are still here. So Chiavachi, Rangel, and Luis Santana. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I don't think Thurman Cox. I don't know why, but he didn't end up making it to the team. Roberto Perez goes to the Red Sox. Javi Baez stays with the Cubs. So let's look at our 40-man roster now that we have to. Some of these players shouldn't be Rule 5 eligible, like Zach Veen, Blaze Gordon. I don't think they're going to be picked. If they do get picked, I'll fix it. I'll get them back. Find a way to do it because they shouldn't be Rule 5 eligible right now. But let me look at our 40-man roster, see if there's any room we can make because we're at, is that 37 players? Yeah. We can remove Jordan Sheffield. Julian Fernandez can get taken off. We'll leave Boswell on for now. I'm going to try and sign some other utility guys. Justin Lawrence, he can get taken off. Taylor Motter. Chris Russin. Chichi Gonzalez, he can just get released. All right, so that puts us at 31 now. So we have a bunch of spots open. Let me see if there's anyone who's not on our 40-man roster who should be on our 40-man. So I think I want to add Casey Golden. Phil May is not eligible. Rodney Stroud isn't eligible. We'll call him up to AA. He's now a top prospect. Can't release him. I'm gonna hold off on Greg Bird for now. Eric Stamets, he can get released. No one really that I think is eligible and worth adding right now. All right, so we still have our 2 contract offers out. We're going to send through a few days. So now we get some more players who will be eligible as salary arbitration needs to be done. Let me see if we got any. So Steven Matz and Brad Miller both signed. So that's good. That adds more depth to our team. Doesn't look like any other real signings were made. Let's see. So Buster Posey, so there were some. Buster Posey goes to the Nationals along with Eduardo Escobar. Carlos Martinez to the Brewers. Tucker Barnhart to the Nationals. Cesar Hernandez goes to the Giants. That's a good signing. We saw Conforto, Claudio, Trevor Story. So Rondon goes to the Brewers. So they had a couple of starting pitchers to already go with a really good rotation. All right. So we'll sim through this day, and now we'll have more players available for us to sign. Correa really getting lowballed. All these guys are. That's really all Major League free agency is anymore. It's just lowballing players. So Mitch Haniger's out there. I don't think with the defense that I'm looking for, he necessarily fits right now. Same with a guy like Jose Martinez. He's a good hitter. And a guy like that, I guess he only wants $1.1 million as a DH, but he may still be available in a little bit. He is 33 years old. And Haniger's defense isn't bad, but just without the speed, it's tough to catch up to the balls that roll around in Coors. Okay, so center fielders. Marisnik is interesting. Still only 31 years old. OPS of almost 700. He does have the speed and defense, can hit for a little power, a little contact. He would want $5 million though. You're gonna have 4.5 with a player option. I'm not sure if I'll keep that offer in there, but just as someone to have right now, offer out for an outfielder. Tyler Naquin, Chris Owings is still there. Guillermo Heredia. He's been good for the Braves. Left fielders. Chad Pinder's out there. Yeah. I don't really want to offer him that much money. Yoenis Cespedes out there. Played 46 games in the last 4 years. It's time for a revival. Let's see. Ooh, Nico Goodrum's available. That's the type of guy I'm looking for. He's hit for power in the past. He's never going to be a great hitter, but great fielder with decent speed, and against lefties can be really good. So I think that's worth making an offer. Yeah, I'll do 2 years for $6 million. And he can play every position, so he can get around wherever we need help at. Can sort of move the lineup around against lefties and find him a spot. Can also hit for a little bit of power against righties and still plays good defense, so he could potentially be an everyday guy for us. Second baseman, Tony Kemp, Jason Kipnis, Donovan Solano. Makes great contact, but once. That's not a ton. Ooh, Pat Valaika. Similar to Nico Goodrum. Just can't play as good a defense, but that power against lefties could definitely make him worthwhile. Hit 16 homers last year. Used to be on the Rockies back in 2019 and through 2016. I'd offer him a 1-year deal. Give you 1.2. Give you 1.3. 1.2. We still have a ton of money out that we can spend as well. Harold Castro, sort of an opposite of Nico Goodrum. Great against righties, but his defense isn't very good and he's not very fast. First baseman. Derek Dietrich, he's good. Didn't play in the majors last year. Very interesting to me. Dan Vogelbach. Can't hit lefties. but hit 25 homers. Still only 29 years old. Darren Ruff's still out there, living his life. Any more catchers? Chirinos, he's old, regressing a lot. There was someone I saw. Oh, Knapp. How much does he want? $2 million. Wow, Richard Rodriguez was non-tendered. He was an all-star for the Pirates. Only 32, 30 saves, ERA of just around 3. Oh, Alex Reyes is a free agent? He walks way too many guys, but he's got elite stuff. 97 two-seam fastball and four-seam with elite break. That's worth giving him an offer. See what he can do for us. Definitely worthwhile. So Chris Martin was good for the Braves. Been pretty decent the last few years. Doesn't walk a lot of batters. Throws a good sinker and cutter and slider. How much would he want? $8 million a year. We may come back to that. Robbie Ray still out there. Merrill Kelly. Ross Stripling. Jake Arrieta. It's not a bad option for a veteran pitcher. Only 30. Yusei Kikuchi was played out of the bullpen most of the season and wasn't as good as he's been in real life. Mike Foltynewicz. Got great stuff, doesn't always necessarily know where it's going. Another guy like that. Didn't strike out as many guys as you would expect with his stuff, but he does have decent control. So like a 1-year deal at 2.7. We have money to spend. Definitely worth an offer. So there's 5 more offers out there now. Marisnik. Not sure if I want to give him a contract or not. We're going to bump it down a little. He does interest me as a guy in the outfield. All right. Chris Bryant going to the Nationals. It's a good signing for them. Only $9.5 million. It's him a couple days. So we had someone sign. Nico Goodrum signs. So we get a guy who's great against lefties, good fielder, good speed, can play every position except for catcher. I think that'll be a big add for us. Some a couple more. So let's see. Valleca signs. Alex Reyes also signs. I think that'll be a good signing for us potentially. He's still only 27, 8 potential. Overall still going up with elite stuff. The walks per 9 are about as bad as it gets, but I think potentially could be interesting for us. See if we can get Fulte. All right, so we're getting close to the new year. So let's see. So we do get Marisnik on a very favorable contract. Where's our 40-man roster sit now? 38. So we brought in so far Nico Goodrum, Jake Marisnik, Steven Matz. Brad Miller. Valeka. So we haven't made any splashy signings, but I think all these players could potentially could have an impact for us just depending on how the season goes. Eduardo Rodriguez gets a big deal, $23.5 million for the Detroit Tigers. How many players do we have? So we still have 3 roster spots open. All right, so now there'll be even more free agents available who are non-tendered by their teams. All right, we're going to go through it quickly, see who all is available here. How old is Phillip Ervin? 29. We already got an outfielder. Ooh. I do like Greg Allen. Mainly because, look at that arm strength. He's probably not going to hit very much, but if I could get him on like a league minimum salary, absolutely I'll take that. Decent contact against righty and could play elite defense in center field for us. Adolis Garcia was non-tender, not the player he is in real life right now. See, I don't know if necessarily all these guys would actually be available in real life, but I want to sign so many of them. Like a good defensive center fielder there. Let's see. Yairo Nunez. Could be interesting. Just think there are better utility guys potentially out there. Nick Gordon was non-tendered. Orlando Arcia is interesting. He's playing outfield for the Braves now. Doesn't have that ability in here. Culberson, D. Gordon. Just trying to see if I can find someone that's interesting to potentially help us out. Now that's an interesting one. Kyle Farmer for not a ton of money as another catcher option. If I were to get him, it's probably as a catcher. May hold off on that though. I like Andy Young. Can't play defense, but does hit the ball pretty decent, or has decent hitting ratings at least. See, there are just so many players to go through. Yeah, and some of these guys still will be available like once the season's fully over, or the off season is fully over. So like getting a catcher or another maybe first baseman isn't the biggest deal right now. I don't know why Corey Lee's out there. I feel like he shouldn't be. I'm going to leave that alone. That doesn't seem like that's very realistic for him to be cut by his team. Let's see. Any new relievers who are interesting? Doesn't really seem like it. Could bring Jordan Lyles back. Top prospect. What happened? It's actually pretty decent for the Rangers last year in 29 games, though. All right, starting pitchers. Astros let another one of their guys go. We actually faced Javier in a game. Chi-Chi's still out there. I don't want to bring him back. He's bad. Ooh, Taylor Widener's out there? I like him in real life. Still only 27, only 1 year of service time. Didn't actually end up playing in the majors, but did get better. I think it's worth giving him an offer. 1 year league minimum. Get him into our system. See what he can do as another pitching option to replace a guy like Chichi Gonzalez. I think that's definitely worthwhile. So we're going to... How many offers do we... So we have 3 offers out now. So Taylor Widener, he signed with us. Joins our 40-man. So Noah Syndergaard, think he goes back to the Blue Jays, who he was with originally. So he gets 21.7 over 6 years, 130 total. Good for him. So we do get Greg Allen, which is good. What's our 40-man at now? 36, so 39. We're going to have to probably make a move or two when we get to the Rule 5 draft. So Corey Seeger gets 15.8 from the... Wow, the White Sox make another move. They're going all in. Good contract for him. What are the White Sox at now? Goodness gracious. Yeah, because they signed Conforto, Seeger. They still have Tim Anderson. So you have Yasmani Grandal, Jose Abreu, Madrigal, Moncada, Seeger, and Anderson. Then Eloy, Robert, and... So everyone except for Madrigal is an A potential there. Plus Liam Hendricks. We know about some of their young pitching. Guys like Matthew Thompson, Dylan Cease, Garrett Crochet, Michael Kopech. So they could be maybe World Series favorites to start the season? I don't know. Let's see. Any other interesting people signed? Padres signed Richard Rodriguez. That'll probably be a good pickup for them. Syndergaard signs. The Marlins sign Yermin Mercedes. Ooh, another guy, not the same player as he is in real life right now. Although I think he got sent down to AAA. Is this the Rule 5 draft? Yeah. Alright, so we are almost to the new year and to the winter meetings. So before we get to the Rule 5 draft, let's see if we can clean up our 40-man a little bit. So yeah, we're at 39, so I want to open up some spots. Spores ended up not doing super great for us. Tommy Doyle, I feel like it's like pitching with him could be great. I think we added some utility guys where someone like Brett Boswell is a little less important. Ben Bowden, he can be removed. I think everyone else, though, I want to keep on. So we'll take off. We've seen Spores pitch, so we'll take off Norwood. We've seen him strike out the side in one of our games. Alcala, don't want to remove. I don't want to lose him. I think he could be great for us. So we still have Fulte with an offer out there. Arbitration. All right. How many players do we have? 91. So potentially could have 2 more spots available. All right, so now time to get into the Rule 5 draft. See what we're able to get here. This is a place where you can definitely add some talent. So Chad De La Guerra goes from the Cubs to the Orioles. Seems like he's pretty decent, 28 years old. He was a free agent. He was non-tendered. So let's look around. Dom Thompson-Williams shouldn't be available, so won't take him. Zach Veen's out there, but I doubt he'll get picked. Malik Smith, I really liked him on the Braves, but his defense is just so bad. But I really like Malik Smith. Bubba Starling, look at that arm, 98. That's a college quarterback. Jose Peraza's out there. Didn't play in the majors, though. Yairo was signed. Yairo, something like that. He was signed, but still eligible for this. I think one of the biggest places you can find value in the Rule 5 draft, though, is players like utility guys who don't necessarily have a role for their team or bullpen pieces. Can take the last 2 years of Robinson Cano's $24 million deal. Greg Bird's out there. Jacob Nottingham. That would be interesting. Let's see. It's tough because some of these players shouldn't be here. I don't know what their deal is. Like Logan Gilbert. Why is he eligible? Someone's going to take him away from the Mariners. It's not very nice. Well, Sir Anthony Dominguez, 98 miles per hour, was hurt last year, taken off the 40-man roster. Didn't actually pitch the last 2 years. So I feel like he would probably be taken off the 40-man. You don't really know what you're getting from him moving forward, but walks per 9 and durability is the only real concern. Everything else is pretty elite. So we're going to draft Sir Anthony Dominguez. We'll actually just go through and then come back to these. So Malix goes to the Giants. I considered taking him. I really recognize some of these other names. Ty Buttrey. So Logan Gilbert does go to the Nationals, which is dumb. The Dodgers go from one Justin Turner to another Justin Toner. Nick Birdie. So let's see. I'm not drafting Robinson Cano. Not really sure if there's going to be anyone else out there that's really worth taking a pick on. Maybe I'll just take my own guy. Take Greg Bird. This game's a lot harder to talk during with off seasons like this because it's a very important off season, and I feel like I need to focus to try and actually help this team out. That's some interesting flexibility, but 29 years old. The other tough thing with the 40-man or the Rule 5 draft is these guys have to spend the entire year on your team, which for most of these guys I don't see happening. So I think we will skip our selection, just take Sir Anthony Dominguez. So it doesn't look like anyone else will be picked. Sam Williams, Jesse Franklin, and Nick Dunn. None of these players should be available. And that will do it for the Rule 5 draft. So we pick up Sir Anthony Dominguez. I think he could potentially be our closer for us as our Rule 5 pick. So right now where everything stands, you have Gomber, Freeland. That doesn't seem right. So Alex Reyes shouldn't be in the rotation. Steven Matz. There we go. So for the depth chart, Austin Gomber, Steven Matz, Kyle Freeland, Senzatella, Tukey, along with Taylor Widener, Derek Rodriguez, and Castellani. Options in the starting rotation. Catchers will stay the same. I doubt Connor Joe will be our first baseman. Maybe Ryan McMahon with Goodrum, Miller, and Valleca spending time there. Rogers will be our shortstop, I believe. Second base could be Valleca, could be Miller, could be Goodrum. I think I want to keep Hampson in the outfield. So it would be like Hilliard, Hampson, Tapia maybe, or even Marisnik. We also have him out there. So I think we're almost through the off season, and I want to see maybe about some trades. See who's out there. I have a guy in mind on, I think he can make an impact for us. Don't think he would be too expensive, and it would be Fran Reyes. He's a DH only 26 years old, missed a good chunk of the season last year with an injury, didn't hit well when he was there, only 11 home runs, OPS of only 7 or 700, not the same as these. Hasn't been the same since 2019. They do have Jordan Luplow already, along with Ahmed Rosario and Eddie Rosario and Bradley Zimmer, so they have room there. Jose Ramirez, so they have potential to have room to trade him away. They're also not really in a position right now to necessarily be contending. So let's see, what sort of deal do you want? Sir Anthony Dominguez, Joseph Joy, Rodney Stroud, Derek Rodriguez, and Robert Stevenson. None of those interest me. So what about... We have a lot of pitching prospects. Carl Kaufman. Could trade away Josh Fuentes. I don't see him having a long future. What's up, Everett? How's it going? I think that would be interesting. He plays great defense, could fill a hole for them at first base. Another guy who I have interest in as a DH type of guy is Miguel Cino. He had a better season versus Fran Miel. He is 2 years older and will be a free agent after this season. So a little bit less value there. We already made a trade with the Twins. So I think we're just going to go for Fran Miel. Throw in Josh Fuentes. And just to sweeten the pot a little bit to make it maybe a little bit more even, we'll throw in Brandon Gold as well to be potential starting pitchers, along with Josh Fuentes, who I think has potential to be good. He plays excellent defense against righties, is very good. I just don't think this is the right place for him. We pick up Fran Miel, who's got elite hitting rating, still potential to grow. I don't see him playing in the outfield for us with his defense and speed, but as a designated hitter, since the universal DH is a part of the league, I think he would be a big impact player for us. And then Carl Kaufman and Brandon Gold, I don't see them as very big prospects for us. We have better ones in our system. So I think we're going to do this deal. We get it accepted, and now Fran Miel is our third or second best player on our team. Instantly inserts as our DH and best hitter by far on this team. And I'm excited to have him as a part of this franchise. All right. So we'll go ahead and move forward a little bit more. So it took Correa almost all the way to the end of the offseason to sign, but he does sign for 17 with the Marlins, so really not a very big deal for him. Surprised he didn't go with like a shorter contract, try and get back to free agency. Did we not sign Fulte? No, we didn't. Where did he go? I really wanted Mike Foltynewicz. I didn't even notice he didn't sign with us. Travis Demerit. Let's see. Player search. I wonder who signed him. It didn't give me a notification. Oh, no, he's still out there. Never mind. That's weird. So I still have my offer out there, but he's not interested, or it doesn't show me it's out there anymore. You can get 1 mil. I'll give you 2.7. To be nice, we still have $81.82 million to spend. So we still got a good bit of money. Let's see if there's any places before we actually end the offseason that we could improve in. I don't think we need to add any more starting pitchers outside of Tukey. That gives us a number of options that we can cycle through. Relief pitcher, though, that's rough. Like, oof. I mean, guys who potentially, I guess, could make an impact, but still. That may be somewhere to see if we can sign one more veteran. So, I think we're good in the infield. Number of guys there. Still have a guy like Colton Welker, AAA. I think we're probably okay there. In the outfield, we have Golden, Hilliard, Marisnik, Allen, Tapia, Daza, and Franmil Reyes, but he's a DH. All right. Let me see if there's any interesting players left here, and then I'm going to look at some relievers. So Donovan Solano is still out there, but I don't know. I don't think there's necessarily room for him to start for us. I do like Adam Duvall. He's killed the Braves this year after being good for the Braves the previous year. Yeah, let's look at some relievers. We could also look at, and also for our bullpen, put some of these guys like Mike Foltynewicz or Taylor Widener, guys who throw hard with good stuff, into the bullpen as either long relief guys or setup guys. Same with Tukey Toussaint. Hunter Green could potentially get called up to the majors. That may be a good role for him to start his career. So let's see. any pitchers who are interesting for our bullpen. I also want someone who maybe had a better season last year. Why is Yusei Kikuchi getting so much money? He wants $16 million for 1 year. You're 30. Like Mike Foltynewicz is 30 and he's getting 2.7. So there's no one really out here. James Hoyt, Mark Melancon, potentially at 37. He was really good for the Padres. How much does he want? He wants $5 million. Maybe as a guy to add a veteran presence to our bullpen, not the worst idea. If I could get him for $4 million a year, adds a nice veteran presence, could be our closer to open the season before we figure out who's the long-term closer if he's on this roster currently, and also allows us the opportunity to trade him at the deadline if he has another season like that. Because, I mean, a 1 ERA over 39 appearances, and that even includes 3 blown saves, only allowed 5 runs all season. So, yeah, I would love to get Mark Melancon. So, Melancon also signed. So, we've signed a good bit of players this offseason. Is Folty going to sign? The problem is once we get into actual free agency, after this ends, he's going to ask for more money than that most likely, and it won't let you sign him for less. Okay, so we still have... Oh, wow. We have a lot of time left. Never mind. Your offer's going back down. So Foltynewicz also signs. I don't think there's anyone out there that I still need to sign. So we'll head up to the arbitration meetings. Garrett Hampson, they side with him, side with Diaz, side with Yency Almonte, and with Tapia. Senzatella, Estevez. So we win 1 arbitration. So it's not a big deal that we lose those. As let's see. We still have $57 million available. Mainly because our highest paid player makes $5.8 million a year. A lot of guys now on this team who are making money, but no one making a ton. Sort of nickel and dime with all of our free agency. So it does seem like if Andrew McCutchen signed with the Yankees, and Miguel Rojas signed with the Yankees. Tim Beckham signs. Ruben Tejada, Logan Morrison. Asdrubal Cabrera, Cole Calhoun, and Pavin Smith all go to the Blue Jays. All right, so I think we're pretty much good here. No more signings I want to make. Don't need to renew any contracts. We're at 92 players, so we have 1 more spot available to sign someone if we wanted to. Still have players at the bottom of the roster that I would not be upset with releasing. All right, so we're into spring training now. We're not going to go through any of actual spring training in this episode. So one of our scouts retired. So we could get Bobby Kincaid as a new scout. This is another place I don't mind spending money. Helps us in the draft a whole lot. So players who are still out there. Probably go through this list more, see if there's anyone worth bringing in. For the most part, I doubt it. We added a ton of players here. 2 All-Stars, though. Ender Inciarte was a minor league All-Star. Yeah. I mean, I can look through this more after this stream's over, but I don't really see anyone who's worth bringing in for the most part. So we have our 40-man at 40 people. Don't know if there's anyone else that I want to bring to spring training. Potentially there is, though. Like, I think I may want to bring Greg Allen. We're going to keep May and Stroud in all of our draft picks. Not worry about that. Greg Bird. Hunter Green. Shane Boz. So there are a few. Like, I would like to bring Allen and definitely Hunter Green, just so we can actually see him play a little bit at the major league level. So let's do a little bit on our lineup. We'll start with our pitching rotation. I don't know if Tukey can open the season as our 5th starter with a lot of this too. I really believe that spring training is important for a team like us to see what is this team's potential and who are our best players to start the season. So we do get an all-star, signing Mark Melanson. That'll be, I feel like, really important for our bullpen. And I think there are options here for our bullpen as well in terms of guys like Derek Rodriguez, Castellani, Taylor Widener, Mike Fultonevich, Kyle Wright. I didn't even talk about him. Just starting pitchers who I think potentially could have an impact for us. So we have a ton of pitchers going to spring training. I feel like that's the majority of our 40-man. But we do have a good bit of position players as well that give us some variety. So with Boswell, he could be a guy to take off of the spring training roster, because we do have Brad Miller, who plays better defense, same speed, and is a better hitter. Same with Goodrum. Valleca can play the same positions for the most part. Casey Golding is interesting. So I think we may... Let's see. Remove Boswell. Add Greg Allen. Jose Mujica. We'll remove him from the 40-man roster. And we're going to add Hunter Green. See what he can do in spring training for us. Would be interesting to call up someone like Shane Boz, but I don't think he's quite ready yet. I think Hunter Green's a little further along. I want to see if any of these, it won't show me if they're a top prospect at single A for some reason. So we can see we now have a ton of A potentials on this team, a lot of B potentials as well, some C's who I think have value for us. But we have 5 players who are considered top prospects. Let's see. Rodney Stroud is number 12. Joseph Joy is number 15. Shane Boz is number 30. And Xavier Edwards is number 44. So a bunch of guys there. The lineup. DH will be Fran Miel. against righties. I think I want him in center field. So he can stay at third. He can play first for us. In terms of our second baseman, I guess he could play second base, and then we could put Marisnik in the lineup. Lefties, I think, is a little bit easier just because we got some guys who are lefty killers. Fran, Miel, Reyes, Garrett Hampson. Then it's second base, Valleca. First baseman. I don't know, Colton Walker for now. It doesn't really matter. And then Nico in left field. So that gives us great fielding there and great speed all around with good defense in our outfield against lefties. Can also put in Greg Allen as well. Yeah, so I think that's decent for now. See what our depth chart looks like. So Gomber, Matz, Freeland, Senzatella. Catcher looks the same. Didn't really change these things around. For 2026, it's interesting. Joy, Boz, Green, Chiavachi, May at first base, Edwards, Lewis, Valade, Welker, Stroud, Veen, with Gilberto and Fran Miel, Luis Santana, Antoine Kelly. Yeah. So I think this team, we're still only number 27, but we were number 29, I believe. And I think we added some impact players as well. May do a live stream of some of spring training as well, just to play through the games. I'm going to play through them anyways, and would be fun to stream them. But I think that's pretty much going to wrap up the last bit of this offseason. We're into spring training now, made a ton of moves. I don't even know how many different players we brought onto this team. At least 13 new potentially major league contributors in my quick count. Could be more, could be a little less. I'm not a strong counter. All right, but I think that will do it for this off season. I appreciate everyone coming out and supporting this. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of this Colorado Rockies franchise as we continue to make this team better and really see what this team can do in Season 2 and moving forward if the moves we made paid off. But also make sure you leave a like on the stream if you don't mind. I will see you next time for the spring training stream. I assume that will be next. I hope you have a great rest of your night.